Hello, this is Mr. Jared, and in this video tutorial, we will be 3D modeling this object in SolidWorks. So first off, I will take note of where my origin is, and you can kind of see that the origin is located right in the center of this entire structure, and it's also on the outside. So this line here and this line here helps us understand and indicate that it is located on the far outside face of this entire thing. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to take note of are my units. And here I am in IPS, so that is nice because my computer is defaulted to that. Now, looking a little bit closer, we might have something that you've never seen before, and that would be this right here. And this is actually called a section view. So I have a small little link down here that says what is a section view. And what you actually see from this is it takes you to wisconsinlearning.com, so thank you to them. They have this nice little section view presentation that's loaded. And what this basically explains in here is that you have these little angled lines, those are called section lines in a drawing. And if you have a part that has some type of feature like this, simple holes that go down through, and you want to see if they go all the way down through or if they just go partially down through, you can use a section view. So this represents kind of like a cutting plane. So remember, a plane is an imaginary 2D surface that continues on forever. So if this plane were to come down and cut into this, you can see that it shows you the section lines now, and it's actually cutting right through those circles, so we can clearly see that those circles or holes go all the way down through. So there's a lot more to this presentation. It shows you what a cutting plane line would actually look like. It gives you the example of how this thing would rotate. So a top view, a front view, right side, and an isometric. And you can actually see how it would look in a picture like this. Now going back to the example that we have, we are in a 3D version. Okay, so this type of section view is kind of like a specialty section view. But the reason why they have this on this part is so that you can see this circle right here is actually a hole that goes all the way through. So basically this middle part is almost like a tube. So you have an outside piece, you have a tube that goes through the middle, and it connects to another piece out here. Okay. Now the next confusing part, I kind of put a note for this down here, and it says the inside big circle is 1.3, not 1.5. Well, you might be saying, well, okay, so my picture's wrong. No, it's not. Okay, so if you see this right here, it says 1.5 at 45 degrees. Okay, that's this circle right here. My note says that the inside of it is 1.3. So we're actually going to be drawing 1.3, not 1.5, because it says when you add chamfer, or when you chamfer it at 45 degrees, it adds 0.1 to both sides of the circle, making it a final 1.3. Now that might be a little bit confusing just in this writing. So I have this circle here with a diagram picture just to maybe help you understand this. So say I draw this entire circle at 1.3. We're going to be adding a chamfer all the way around this thing. So if I were to click on this side, it's going to angle this side out. Okay, it's almost going to put a little triangle there. It's going to chamfer that edge here and on the opposite side of the circle. So if it adds 0.1 here and 0.1 there, so you've got 1.3 plus 0.1 plus 0.1, you will actually have that 1.5. Okay, and again, if I lost you a second time, just follow with me and you'll understand it. Okay, the last one here, it says fillet number 3 is on the back side. So it says there are 3 fillets. You can kind of see here with these little dashed lines, that is a fillet, and the back one is right there. It goes around the back side of this tube. Okay, well, enough of that though. Let's actually get started. So I'm going to pull this to my other screen, and in SolidWorks, I'm going to start a new part. We need to make sure we are in inches or IPS, and we are actually going to be sketching on the front plane. Okay, so to start out, looking at this entire thing, it sees that you can see that there's a tube and all that stuff in the middle. but we need to hold off on that a little bit. We're going to do some of the outside of it first, and that is all symmetrical. So that means I'm going to take the construction line tool, so line tool, check the box for construction, and I'm just going to come over here and click to my origin and click up this way. Okay, now I'll hit escape, and those are the lines that I'm going to mirror across. So I'm going to mirror this way, then mirror everything over this way. Okay, so you can do this in several different ways, but this is a nice way of doing this. So I'm going to get my circle tool and just draw a circle up there. You could obviously draw another circle if you'd like and trim it, or you can do different arcs. That's fine too. I'm actually going to use the center point arc, and I'll just click on this construction line, kind of click up here somewhere, and I'll drop back down. Okay, now I know for a fact that this is actually way too far in. It needs to be out here more, but that's all right. The other thing I can do here is select the center of the circle and actually click on this line, and I need to wrap around this way, and I'll just kind of let it hang out over there. Okay, finally I'll click up here, I'll click this part of it and back down to it. Now this is definitely screwed up, but once I add my relations and everything, it should be fine. Okay, so the key part of having those construction lines and doing that is you notice it put it coincident to those construction lines, meaning it's coincident to the origin as well. Okay, so if I make this connection point tangent and that one tangent, it should fix these up a little bit. And you can do that simply by clicking on one line, holding in shift and selecting the other. It will make those tangent. We'll do that again up here. So click out in the white to deselect, and then select both of these lines and make those tangent. And you see how it fixed that up a little. Okay, now we can go ahead and dimension this. So these little holes or circles right now are 0.4 in diameter. The arc itself up here is 0.5. This arc is actually 1.5. Okay, and this arc is also going to be 1.5. So you could set those two to equal, or you could just type it in, doesn't really matter. Now it still does not look correct. Well, that's because we did not dimension anything else. So this circle down to the origin, so the construction lines, the same thing, going to be 1. That's going to push that down. You can see this looks a little bit better, but it kind of messed this thing up. And that is also because we did not tell it that it needs to be in yet. So from this construction line into the circle is also going to be 1. Okay, so when you did that, hopefully it punched everything in, kind of moved it all in a little bit more, and it should be fully defined. Okay, so I'll get off my dimension tool. I'm going to just click and hold out here in this blank area, select everything. I'll hit my mirror entities, and since we have 2 construction lines, it doesn't know which one you want to mirror it off of. Switch to the mirror about, and I'm just going to go down first, hit the green check, select everything again, mirror entities, and this time it just double mirrored it. So let's try this again. Mirror entities, there we go. Maybe I just closed out of it. So mirror about, and let's click the vertical line this time, and the green check. Okay, so now we are fully defined. We've got a lot of mirroring marks all the way around, symmetrical. So we're all good. We're not going to do that middle portion yet. Okay, I'm going to go to the Features tab and hit Extrude. And I want to make sure that I'm actually going back. So let's select that contour. Let's rotate it or change this to go back. And what I need to do here is find the overall thickness. That overall thickness is 0.5. Okay, so that's fine. Let's continue just to draw all the way back, and then we'll come back here and do these inside parts. All right, so I'm going to rotate around to the back, and I'll draw on the back side, which you could actually draw on the front side and extrude it through. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to hit Control 8. I'll get my circle tool and draw a big circle. This is going to be outside of the tube, so when you dimension this, make sure you're looking for the larger diameter, and that is 1.1. Go to my Features tab and hit Extrude. And since I did draw it on the back, I do have to do a little bit of math because I realized how they have those measurements here. So the measurement is actually this 2.6, and that's coming from the front or from the origin. So since we already did 0.5 and we're drawing back here, when we type this all in, you're just going to have to type in 2.6 minus 0.5. Now, if you only want to go to the front of this, you can also subtract that, or you can take it to the back and you can just do the 2.1. So it really doesn't matter. I will just go to the front of this so it doesn't confuse you too much. So I'm going to be doing this minus both this measurement and this measurement here. Okay, so in order to do that, if you can't do that math in your head, it's going to be 2.6 minus 0.5 minus 0.4. So you just simply type that right in, and SolidWorks will figure all of that out. Okay, so I'll hit the green check. And yes, I have a solid cylinder here. Remember, we're going to be doing that tube towards the end. So I'll sketch again on the end of this, and I'll hit Control 8, so I'm at my flat view. And this time, you can do this in several different ways. You could actually use the line tool to draw this shape and try to get everything symmetrical. If you use the corner rectangle, you're never going to be straight up and down. Okay, it'll actually mess you up a little bit. You could actually try to do the center, the 3-point center rectangle, or even easier, if you use the polygon tool, which a lot of people wouldn't think about doing, you can change this down to 4. Okay, and you can simply just click on that and move straight up. Okay, and that blue construction line, I don't really care about that too much. That doesn't bother me one bit. That can just stay there. But this is a nice way of doing this because it kept everything symmetrical and perpendicular and everything else. Okay, now from here, I am going to actually fillet all of these corners. So get the fillet tool, and the corners themselves are a radius of 0.5. So I'll select all 4 of these. Green check. And then I can simply draw my circles. So that is the nice way of doing this. If you fillet first, then you get your center points. So you're going to connect your circles right to each one of those center points. All of these circles are the same size. So I will just hold in Shift and work my way around, select all 4 of them and set them to equal. Okay, I'll dimension one of those, and it says that they have a measurement of 0.34, and they are actually pretty symmetrical all the way around. So it says that this one and the origin, and you notice when I move this measurement up, see how it goes right through the middle of that? So it does that in the picture too. So it says that that one is perfectly centered. So if yours doesn't do that, I am going to help you fix this. So we're going to make that 1. Okay. And in order to fix that, we just need to hit Escape off the Dimension tool. First, let's select this center point, hold in Shift and select that. And let's make that horizontal. Okay. You could also do this one vertical, but if yours was just slightly off and rotated, this projection line or extension line wouldn't have gone through that middle. Now it does. So you can see this is all fully defined already just off of the simple measurement. Those 2 measurements right there were key. Okay, or 3 measurements. Now we can go to Extrude. And since we're on the front of this, we just need to know the overall thickness going back, and that measurement is going to be 0.4. Okay. So to double check all this to make sure we actually did all of our math right, let's go to Evaluate and hit Measure. And if I click on the front of this and rotate around and click on the back, it should be 2.6, which it is. Okay, so we did all those extrusions correct. All right, so now that we have that entire thing, it looks like the body portion of it is pretty much done. We just need to do this part right here. So for that part, I'm going to be sketching right here on the front again. I'll hit Control 8. This time I'll draw a circle, and I'm going to make the circle 1.3 like I explained earlier. I'll go to the Features tab and hit Extrude Cut, and I'm only going to cut this in 0.1. Okay, 0.1. So just cut it in slightly. Okay, and I got that measurement right off of this picture. You can actually see real small here in the middle. It says 0.1. And if you were to zoom in or look at those little arrows, those arrows actually point from this extension line, which is right to the origin, to that little inside edge, that cut right there. That's 0.1. Okay. Now that we have that, we are actually going to use the chamfer tool, so that's underneath Fillet on the Features tab. Okay, and we'll have this set to distance and angle, and we'll set this to 0.1. Okay, and we want 45 degrees. And if you click on this top lip, it will actually cut this whole entire thing out. I clicked on the wrong surface. Let's try that again. Okay, we can hit the green check. And now you can see it folded all of that out. So if we wanted to check this again with that measurement tool, go to Evaluate and Measure. If you select this outside circle, now it has a diameter of 1.5. So I hope you understand what I was trying to explain at the very beginning. The last thing we need to do before we change the materials is cut the hole all the way through. So let's sketch one more time on this surface. You can hit Control 8 and we'll make the inside hole. Okay, and this inside hole has a diameter of 0.75. 0.75. Now we can go to the Features tab and Extrude Cut, and we'll set this to Through All. Okay, and make sure you are cutting back. You're not cutting this way for some reason. So Through All, green check. Now we have our shape. Okay, I don't really know what this is, but it looks like it would be like some sort of fastener. Okay, and I actually forgot we still need to fillet. So let's go up to the Fillet tool there on the Features tab, and it says it has a radius of 0.06. There are 3 of them, so that is going to be this edge here, right here around the tube, and the other side around the tube. Okay, and the green check. Every once in a while, I've noticed students' computers give them errors. They don't. It doesn't allow them to do this one. So you may have to do those 2 in one fillet, and then get the fillet tool again to do that last one. So if yours is giving you an error, that's probably what it is, and don't ask me why it does that. Okay, let's change the material, and it says it's neoprene, and it gives you a little message there. It says it's in the rubber folder. So if we scroll all the way down, rubber and neoprene is in here. Apply and close. Okay, now we can go to Evaluate and Mass Properties, and you should get a total of 0.28 pounds. You should get a 0x, a 0y, and a negative 1.11 for the z. If you got that, you can save it, move on to the next one. If you didn't, please problem solve and figure out where you went wrong.